everybody. Welcome back to another episode of God Built This Podcast. I'm your host, Maxine. We're on episode 266. So, a little bit more updates on the Jeezy and, I'm about to say Young Miami. What? Jeezy and Jeannie Mai's pending divorce. So there's been some solidified reports as to what led to Jeezy filing for divorce. And some of them include just a difference in family values. So that could look like a number of different things. Now, the major thing here is they are both of a different cultural background. She is Vietnamese and he is an FBA, Foundational Black American, right? No, but you know, he's an African American, a Black American, however he wants to identify. And the cultures are vastly different. And historically, both cultures have a hostile relationship with one another due to the historic racism that has been in place since late 80s, early 90s, circa, towards within the California riots during that time when Asian hair shop owners would specifically target Black girls. And I think there was this one case, I remember there was this one case of this Chinese store owner who shot dead a young Black girl at the store, and he got away with it. Not even got away, like he was not seen, he was still found innocent, though it was proven that his gun, like he admit, like he did it, he did it. And yet, I guess he was able to stand his ground, and I think it was over something like she did steal an item or attempted to, and he stopped her before she could leave the store, and in him stopping her resulted to her death. So there's a history of just violence and hatred and racism from the Asian community towards Black Americans. Now, of course, not every Asian is like this, but all of them are. No. Well, not every Asian is like this, of course, but I think that could also be a factor in maybe feeling uncomfortable blending in families from different cultural backgrounds. And I think also because of their cultural differences, you have, some cultures, they're really big on family. They're really big on always being around family always being over the house, family. And there's no such thing as overstaying your welcome for certain cultural backgrounds. And to my understanding, from what I've gathered, is Jeannie Mai's mother stayed with them since the beginning of their marriage up until now, as well as Jeannie Mai's brother stayed with them. I don't know how long, but still too long considering how Jeezy may have felt about the fact. Because I feel like with me, I think I just like to be in a smaller setting and not always feel like I have to, quote unquote, entertain or be a part of a big group all the time. And to have that in the very place I call refuge may feel a little taxing. Even though, sure, they probably live in a huge home and they have enough space to have their own quarters, right? But I think just the principle of the fact that you can't really walk around your house naked if you wanted to, or, F your wife on the kitchen table because, mama's going to come in the house or mama's going to come through in about 5 more minutes. So you got 5 minutes, hurry up, wrap it up. It's a lot. So there's that. And I think there was some disagreement in how they wanted to raise their child. I don't think about raising, but there was something about Jeannie wanting to walk their child to school every day, like physically walk their child to school on her own. And though to someone like us who is not of that culture of celebrity culture, it's not a big deal, but for someone like Jeezy, who is known for his reputable I don't know, criminal history, but like he's had beefs with Gucci and probably other street niggas. And so though his beef with Gucci is not seemingly on Front Street anymore, or it seems to have been like healed or patched up in a way, I think there's still this paranoia of my enemies wanting to still get back at me. And of course, all's fair in love and war, right? And I'm, even though it's wrong, right? But if you have an enemy who is still mad at you, who considers you as an enemy, anything goes when it comes to getting their payback. And unfortunately, that could look like harming a young child. So there's a plethora of reasons why Jeezy resulted into finally divorcing her, or filing first. And I think ultimately the attitude thing, 'cause I think many of these things probably could have been handled if both parties were open to communication and exhausting other options to reconcile and come to a common ground. But I think it really speaks to the fact that Jeannie Mai said herself that she has a hot temper, and she calls her hot temper a dragon. That is very telling. If someone you are intimately in a relationship with describes their anger issues as the dragon, that's terrifying. Like, and that's just as is not acceptable for a man to describe his anger as a dragon. It's the same way for women, and I think for so long in our society, we've excused crazy ass behavior from women, thinking, oh, well, that's just her hormones. And look, yes, hormones definitely play a factor, but we excuse it in a way where we push it under the rug and we let it fester, and we don't address it, or we don't put our foot down and letting the woman know this behavior is not okay. You need to get help. You need to do better. You need to check that at the door before you address me. And Jeannie Mai said herself that before she got with Jeezy, when she was in her first marriage, her husband never checked her. Her husband never made it seem like this was a big deal for her to get over, or, heal from, or just, kind of move in a path that is healthy. So she just continued going about her communication style with a conflicting tone, a hostile tone at that. And for someone like Jeezy, a street nigga, an FBA, it's an absolutely not. It's an absolutely not. I will not deal with this. And if you can't get it right, I will walk the fuck away. So you see that clearly in his stance, and it is what it is. I mean, God bless. Like, I don't think it's like, I love the videos that I'm watching about it. I just find it so interesting. This is anyway, but there's so many videos of like different commentaries about the topic, and it's so interesting to see the different angles people take when it comes to this. But I think ultimately, all in all, like all the other things that I name about like Jeannie Mai deciding to, or wanting to, and going about walking their child to school every day, and having family over the house for extended periods, and yada, yada, yada. Those things probably could have been handled through consistent communication and meeting at a common ground. But that all can't be dealt with if one person in the marriage is still going about their communication style in a way that's hostile and negative. So this is the result of that, and this is the cautionary tale. So it is what it is. Like, check your attitude or check yourself at the door. So Tiana Taylor and Iman Shumpert are separated. I don't know if they're getting a divorce. That announcement, I don't think that's been made yet. But Tiana Taylor has said publicly, because she wanted to just clear the air, due to a lot of different social media posts of people trying to say Iman is seeing this other woman and yada, yada, yada. And this other woman had on his chain and they're trying to accuse her of being the other, all this BS. And so Tiana decided to kind of clear the air and said that me and Iman are separated. And we are we're good friends still. We've been together for 10 years. They've been together for 10 years, married for, I think, 7 years. They have 2 girls, 2 children together. And it's just no longer working. She didn't give an exact reason why. She did say that infidelity was not a reason that led to them being separated. So I think that's pretty cool that she said that, because I think sometimes we kind of immediately assume it's infidelity when it's like, infidelity is not the only reason one may desire to separate from their partner. I think we have to normalize other reasons why you want to leave a relationship, right? Maybe you grow apart. Maybe you realize you're just not interested in the role that you play in this relationship anymore and you want to explore another role. And this kind of leads me to my next point here. I think she's gay. Hello? I think she's always been on the other side. I remember watching her on the show My Sweet 16 or Super Sweet 16, whatever it was called. It was a reality show back in the day on MTV in which you have these young, privileged kids who were daughters or even sons of these rich parents, and you would see their chronicle lives leading up to their Sweet 16 party. So Tiana Taylor was one of the featured episodes in which you see her having this big extravaganza as she was turning 16. And even then I just felt like, but back then it wasn't more of a trend, I would say, to be open about desiring the same sex for women at that time, especially. And she was super young, so she probably wasn't even thinking that way, or maybe she didn't know what she wanted or liked, or even gave herself permission to explore that. I don't know what it was, but you know how you just have a radar? I don't know. I just have radars for any of that. And so I say that because I could read energy, and I could read just the type of, and I could be totally wrong, right? I could be totally wrong. I don't know her personally, but I think she's on the other side. Like, what are we talking about? You could tell from her mannerisms to her, just her nature. Like, she was always like brolic, And sure, not to say that women who are more tomboyish are likely gay, but I'm saying women who are more tomboyish are likely gay. It does result to the other. It does. Like, let's not act like it's not a natural course of events. Like, it's just, is what it is. Typically, women who do have more of a testosterone, aggressive nature, and I'm using the word aggressive to describe a black woman, but women who do have that nature typically are eventually gay. Like, you know, it's what it is. Now, there are no official statements confirming that, but she also has said that she likes women, right? I think she just said, you know, the easy way to lead into that is by saying you're bisexual. She has said that at some point or alluded to that. I remember hearing something like that previously. And there's clips of her when she would be performing her shows. She would dance on women and be very sexual and sensual towards women. There was one instance in which she was dancing on Kaylani, who is known for being a lesbian, or was one. She's also another one, but she has a baby too. It's like, okay. But she was dancing on Kaylani and super sensual, super like, she's a nigga. What are we talking about? You know, and it just is what it is. And okay, so what's interesting about the announcement that Tiana decided to make to clarify anything she wanted to say herself, that her and Iman are separated and, you know, both of us are free to do whatever. She stated very adamantly, we are still best of friends. We are still best of friends. And there was a picture that she posted of her and him dressing like niggas. Like, you know, he's a man, obviously. He could dress that way. But she dresses so much more. She has always dressed like that, right? And there's been times when she would dress more feminine-like. But you could tell that's not really comfortable in her natural essence, I feel like. And so when she posted the picture of her and him, and I think it was a Halloween picture, so let me give them grace for that. But I think ultimately you just see her being comfortable in that type of attire. And I really think it speaks to her not being someone who is entirely attracted to men. And fair to say, sure, they probably are best of friends, right? Because they're niggas. Hello? I mean, I don't know. Look, yes, maybe there is a world where you can be friends with a man and even describe that friendship as a best friendship, and you're a woman and you're not gay. Sure. I don't know. It sounds so fucking archaic, right? I don't know. In my head, I just don't. I don't know. I just don't understand it. I think when a man is, I don't know. I just think back to a previous relationship that I was in. How do I call him on the show? Leprechaun Bay, right? When I was with him, and he talked about his best friend, and this best friend was a woman, unless she transitioned. I don't know. I haven't spoken to him in years, but no, she's a woman. And I was like, huh? I say it. Your what? You said what? Like, I don't understand. I don't get it. And what I didn't understand about it is, what are we talking about? Like, I don't know in what reality is a man, a heterosexual man. And let's even put alpha. And mind you, he's not really much of an alpha, but let's just put that there, right? A heterosexual alpha man is best friends. Do you know what? Is it me? Is it me, y'all? Because maybe I don't use that word lightly, and that's why I don't see it as casually as some people may see it. But like, I just don't. A best friend. And then come to find out they were fucking. So, like, I mean, or come to find out she liked him. I don't know if they were fucking exactly. I do remember him saying, my brother, I don't know, it was just a weird thing. But it was later on revealed that he did cheat on me, but I don't know with whom. And there's some suspicions of whether it was with her or another woman who I was kind of privy to, or both of them, right? Like, because again, and the reason why I was suspicious of their relationship, their friendship, was she was just too much on him, very physically attached to him. And it was beyond, like, what is friendship then? You know, if we're best friends, okay? If we're best friends and I'm leaning on you, I got my leg over your thigh, what are we doing? What's going on? It's weird. That's not a friend. That's not a best friend. What? Like, do you know the definition of words? Is this the right definition for you? Because maybe this is a different word. Because that's not a best friend. Y'all are fucking. And you so happen to be friends. But, like, let's call it what it was, you know? And so my point is, when men and women are best friends, they're not. They're not. Either one is trying to fuck and it hasn't happened yet, or they're gay. So Sexy Red came forward and I'm dead ass, y'all. Really? Best friend? Please let me know if you feel otherwise. And I'm just like so unevolved, but like, get out of my face. Like, girl, what? Or nigga, what? It's so stupid. Okay, so Sexy Red came forward and she has a line of lip gloss coming out. Talking about so she has a line of lip gloss. Okay, so I'm gonna say the quote. So she says, quote, "I got a lip gloss dropping soon. Y'all better shop with your girl," she said in the interview. Quote, "I got all different flavors. Coochie juice, booty hole brown, coochie pink, sex on my period, gonorrhea, yellow discharge, and nut." I'm gonna need that nut. Point, what are we getting mad? I was watching an episode of a podcast that I frequently listen to. It's a part of my like rotation of podcasts that I listen to, and they were calling this out like this is so like deplorable, detestable, and it's like, yeah, okay, sure, and this is also someone's body parts, right? A woman's body part. Like, what are we saying about booty? Like, the same booty hole you lick, nigga? Yes. Is that nasty? Like, let's not act like it's acceptable to be okay with these body parts, but it's unacceptable to talk about it or have lip gloss named after it, right? Because the same booty hole brown, the name of this flavor is the same booty hole brown you lick at night. Or, you know what I'm talking about? You have a lip gloss line called Coochie Pink. Yeah, but you eat my pussy. What are we talking about? It's Coochie Pink. I don't know. I just think sometimes we get so puritanistic when it comes to Sexy Red in this case in particular. Now, look, I am not a fan of the aesthetic that she is putting out, her as well as Krishan, as well as Suki Anna. Like, I think they're plans. I do think that they're industry plans, and I do think they're trying to just taint the image of Black women. And we have to take it in stride. So I do my best to just kind of laugh at it and not take it as this like serious thing, because like I'm not defined by Sexy Red, right? I'm not defined by these women. I just look, I find the joke and I laugh at it. So sex on my period, I think I'll get that lip gloss. What are we talking about? Maybe not gonorrhea. I'm not going to get that one, but I'll get the yellow discharge. I'll get the nut. It's funny. It's funny. But let's get into something else that she said. And I find it to be a bit nostalgic. So let's get into it.
The most romantic thing somebody did for me, it was my first boyfriend. I was just in high school. He was a little older than me. And it was Valentine's Day. I'll never forget. He robbed somebody and gave me the money and gave me the bill he stole. And it was just so sweet because he was out of breath and stuff. He's like, here, I just got this for you. I was like, oh, so sweet. Thank you. Because nobody never did nothing like that for me. He stole for me. So I'm like, oh, you did that for me, really? I was like 15. I was 15. Yeah, 15. That was my first boyfriend. And that's the first time somebody ever had got me a gift or tried to do something for me. And I know he didn't have it, so the fact that you still made a way and you did what you had to do, that was nice. And it was only $13, but it was nice. And it was a fake Gucci belt. But I was so, it was sweet.
I mean, look, at this point, we gotta laugh. We gotta laugh. I'm not gonna write a think piece about it. I'm not going to lose my hair, my head, any of that over this. You gotta find the humor and laugh. I'm not gonna stress over it. But this just reminded me of when years ago when I was in Boston and Boston Bay, he saw me at the CVS that I was just leaving out of, and he was saying how, oh, I could have stolen this item for you at the CVS and gotten away with it. You know, I could have easily stole that. And I'm like, what? Yeah, I could have easily stolen that item and gotten away with it and given it to you. And it really just spoke to the difference in culture that we have. You know, I think because he is so embedded into just hood nigga shit, and I am not and was not at that time, that had I been a sexy red, I probably would have been like, oh my gosh, that's so cute. Oh, you would have risked your freedom for me, you know? But being that I am not of that mindset or culture, I really was just turned off and taken aback and like, ew, nigga, what? You would have stolen an item for me? Like, what are you doing? Why are you doing that? You ain't got the money to pay for it? Like, that's where my mind went. And I also said, I just said to him, I'm like, no, I wouldn't want you to do that. Like, I said that in response as a way to make it clear that that is not something I would like, require, appreciate, nor desire from you or anybody. Please don't ever say that to me again. So, you know, this again, with Sexy Red, I think she is just someone who we have to, I don't want to say laugh at, right? But just laugh at. You know, not in a mocking way. I don't want to, like, continue to shoot at her like that. But I just don't think we have to get so stressed out about it. Like, I'm going to find the humor. I'm going to sing my pussy babe, my Gucci. Like, what? I'm just going to laugh. It's funny. At this point, it's funny. And we have to just joke and laugh at the humor of what it is. And, you know, eventually it'll go away, because I don't really hear from certain industry plants that were really pushed in our forefront. Like, let me think, Lil Nas X. Like, I haven't seen him do any salacious marketing plan that he was doing years ago. I haven't seen him on any like latest mainstream platforms. Like, I don't know where he is, you know? So you have some of these characters who had a job to do for a specific time frame, and now their fame is over. Now that time frame has allotted, and you move on. So I'm just gonna take it in stride, and I promise you, by next year, probably summertime, she's gone. But we'll see, child. We'll see how it goes. So Drew Barrymore. Okay, so you guys know Hollywood has been on strike, or the writers have been on strike for quite some time now. It's been months, probably 6 months at this point. And Hollywood is shut down. It's a Hollywood pandemic. It's really a Hollywood pandemic. No one can work. No one can talk about their work. No one can promote their work, because it's all about standing in solidarity. And if you even think about breaking apart and talking about your jobs or accepting a new contract role and yada, 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 you'll be shunned, and it's a social punishment that you go through, which is unfortunate because, you know, not every celebrity has it like that. Shocking to contrary belief, maybe not so shocking, because I think nowadays where many of us are more aware of the reality that not all that glitter is gold, meaning these celebrities aren't, though they may look like they're super rich or fancy, at least they don't have it like that. So I think despite the social punishment that many of these celebrities will experience if they desire and if they step out of this solidarity, I think we have to look at it from a standpoint of these people have to support their lifestyles, and in that lifestyle also comes the family that they're supporting. So whether they have children of their own or they're supporting their nuclear family, the family that they had before they had their own children or didn't have children, like that's something that has to be considered. And I don't know, I think these writers definitely should be paid a livable wage, but unfortunately, there's been a history of just unacceptable wages given to them, and that's just a culture. That's just a culture that they're in, and eventually you get your next big break, and that's how you are able to survive and thrive eventually. But it is common culture to be a writer and be broke as hell, yet you're on the list of credits of this Emmy award winning show. It's very strange. It's very, very strange. But anyway, I don't know if this is something bigger than what we're being told, because everything is really put to a stop. Like at this point, this is September, right? We're in the last week of September. At this point, my Chicago PD shows, Law and Order SVU should have been back on by now. So my concern is if and when, because eventually this strike will get over with, right? It'll be done and things will resume. Hopefully, I'm assuming. My thing is, okay, when they get back to work, does that mean I have to wait another month or 2 weeks until the new season of my shows gets picked up again? Like how does that work? Because let's assume that they've been totally, like, they're on strike, so that means no one's working, no one's writing anything down and just putting it aside until they get a better deal, or is no one writing anything at all? Like, what does that mean? What does that look like? Because if today, at the time of this recording, we're given the news that Hollywood is back on, the lights are back on, the glamour is back on. Okay, do I have to wait a month until Law and Order SVU could resume? Like, how does that work? Anyway, Drew Barrymore gets backlash for deciding to return her talk show despite the current writers' strike. And there's actually an update to this because of the backlash that she got, y'all. She is actually she actually decided to stop it again. Anyway, I'm not gonna play the whole video because this is only it's 4 minutes, so that's too long. But in this video that she released, she said a couple of things and she cried, and you know how she talks, she's talking so like, it's just so weird. Like she just stops in the middle of her speech and just like stare off into this, like, is this Mitch McConnell? What's going on? And this is what she said verbatim. Quote, "We aren't gonna break rules and we will be in compliance. I wanted to do this because, as I said, this is bigger than me and there are other people's jobs on the line. And since launching live in the pandemic, I just wanted to make a show that was there for people in sensitive times. And I weighed the scales and I thought, if we could go on during a global pandemic and everything that the world has experienced through 2020, why would this sideline us?" End quote. Now, I think objectively this is pretty a good, like, it's a strong take. I don't see what's wrong with going about your day, you know? And I think there's a level of convenience that people are saying, oh, you gotta be in solidarity, but it's like, no, there are other, like, yeah, sure, Drew Barrymore doesn't need to work this talk show, right? I'm sure she has a shitload of money and she doesn't have to work a day in her life. I mean, let's assume that, you know, unless she hasn't managed her money well throughout the years and she needs this job. But let's assume that she doesn't need this job. You know, what benefit is it to her to continue? I think this really speaks to her saying in the beginning of this quote that this is bigger than her, and that there are other people's jobs on the line. Like, think about the crewman who's a part of the show. Think about the talent recruiter, or like whoever helps keep the show running. They're not your everyday folks that we know, and we know the names of. We don't know them. We only know Drew Barrymore. What about them? You know, how can they feed their families and support themselves accordingly? You know, so I just think it's hard. It's hard when people are bullying you to stand in solidarity when it's like, motherfucker, I need to work. I don't know. My bad. I just rubbed. Oh, great. Every time I rub on him, he wants a little belly rub. We want a little. Okay, sorry. I don't know. I'm a bit conflicted. Like, I do get the whole purpose of solidarity, but I just think it's unfair to bully someone to be on your side. Like, what are we talking about? Anyway, I just don't know where this strike is going to go, how long it's going to go for, the realistic expectations, and just the timeline for it all. It's unbearable. I need to watch SVU. Fuck. I miss Olivia Benson. Where's Olivia Benson? I miss Voight. Where's Voight? I miss my Chicago PD. What are we talking about? I'm sick of this shit. Dang. Anyway, so she felt so bullied that she was like, you know what? Never mind. I know what I said, but you know what? I'm going to go ahead and be in solidarity. She decided to just go back on what she just said and was like, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and just do what y'all said for me to do. And you know what's funny is Drew Barrymore wasn't the only talk show host who wanted to return and planned to have return the show, her talk show. It was also The View, which is still on. They didn't stay on strike, or I think they just recently returned. So they're still on. The Talk, Sherry Shepherd's show, I think Jennifer Hudson's show also. So, like, you know, people need to work. Like, cut it out, you know? So it is what it is. I don't feel like Oh, here's another one. Okay, so Jennifer Hudson's talk show has delayed its premiere after she was flooded with comments calling her a scab. So that's the new term. You know, people be making words up. People be making words up. Like, you got gaslight, you got scab, you got rape apologist. Like, what? Who is making up these words? Calling her a scab. Let's look up what scab is. Is that even recognized in the dictionary, or is that an urban dictionary word? Let's see. Scab. You know how scab be like on your body? Oh, I got a scab. You know what I'm talking about? Anyway, scab. Hold on. You know how you highlight something on the computer? I highlighted the word. Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah. It's on the body. So it says here, a dry, rough, protective crust that forms over a cut or wound during healing. Okay. So what is people just be is exactly what I'm saying. Scab means what's on your body, right? You have this ugly looking mark on yourself that you keep scratching and you could pick it off. That's a scab. You don't describe a person as a scab who desires to get back to work amidst a strike. Last week, Jennifer Hudson was one of several celebrities facing heavy backlash for deciding to bring back her eponymous talk show. Ooh, these words are interesting. What the fuck does eponymous mean? Eponymous? Look that word up. Oh, giving their name to something. So her own talk show. So Jennifer Hudson show, Drew Barrymore show. That makes sense. Got it. Amid the ongoing strikes in Hollywood, as you may be aware by now, the Writers Guild of America has been striking since May of this year, meaning that writers across TV and movies are out of work until the union reaches an agreement with the Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Producers. This strike, which is centered around things like fair compensation, has left many shows on an indefinite hiatus. Last week, however, things took a turn when several talk show hosts, including Drew Barrymore, Bill Maher, Jennifer Hudson, revealed that they plan on bringing back their shows. So it is what it is. I think Jennifer Hudson is back on air. What about The View? I swear The View has new episodes from what I've heard. Return amidst the strike. But you know what's so funny? This strike, how does the strike affect talk show? You know, a talk show. How does that... I mean, I guess you need writers to figure out the segments of the show and the talking points. So I guess that makes sense. Okay. Because when I think of a writer's strike, I'm only thinking of TV shows like sitcoms and dramas and comedy shows, stuff like that. So not a talk show where you're giving your opinion on something. Like no one's writing your opinion for you. So maybe that's why it should be categorized as something different. But let's see here. Okay, so now another article I just pulled up now, titled "Whoopi Goldberg and The View host scabbing against WGA strike scandal actor." What? Let's see what they say about The View. Yada yada yada. Who said that? Okay, so someone from the show Scandal. His name is Josh Malina. He's also from the show West Wing. Remember that show? Oh, I used to watch that show when I was a kid. Me and my mom. Anyway, so he decided to give a quote. I knew it was him. His name is Josh Malina. "I've come to the conclusion that Whoopi and the other hosts of The View are indeed scabbing." And you know what's so funny? These actors who are so ooh, I'm going to put on my high horse. And is it high horse, but how do you say the statement? Is it put on my, wear my, whatever. I'm going to be on my high horse. I'm going to put on my most moral, righteous hat. and judge you for deciding to go back to work. First of all, you're not affected by this writer strike. You know why? Because you're not a writer on the show and getting paid 88 cents an hour. So you acting like, oh my gosh, like this whole like, oh, I'm an ally. You know, I support the voiceless. It's like, okay, cool. Thank you for your support. But like, you're not hungry the way that you're not hungry at all. Like I think you're pretty fine, you know, especially in comparison to these writers who aren't getting paid fairly. So his judgment was just like, he's speaking as if he is a writer on a show getting unfairly compensated. Barrymore was torn to shreds on social media last week after announcing her plans to bring back her daytime endeavor, the Drew Barrymore Show. I want to see what they say about Whoopi, though. Okay, anyway, The View has been picketed by the WGA from day one. Also, the show normally employs 2 members of the union who are now on strike. If you cross a picket line to go do your job and then do the work of a picketing union member, in this case, even jotting down a question to ask a guest, in my book, that's being a scab. Shut up. Like, he probably didn't know that word until the day before he used it. Ugh, so silly. But, I mean, get it together. Like, what is fair? What are y'all looking for? Like, do I need to pay y'all? Is there a fund that I could send some money to? Because I need my show back. I really want to know, what is the end result here? What is the amount that you will settle for that will bring peace and happiness to both parties? Because enough is enough. This has been happening since May. It's September. Like, what are we talking about? Like, can we move on? It's too much. Just too much going on. There is a Democratic candidate who is on these online streets, butt-ass naked having sex. And I'm trying to find the video. She is running. Yeah, so she's a candidate for the Virginia House of Delegates. And she is performing sex acts with her husband online. And they knew, like, it wasn't like something where their sex tape was found and used as blackmail, and or it wasn't like they were recorded without their knowledge, right? No, they willingly recorded a sex tape, which is fine, but they really recorded and posted it on a website called Chatterbait, which is, you know how there's Masturbate, right? And Chatterbait is about chatting with others while you masturbate or while they masturbate to you. And they willingly posted their sex tape on this website to request for tips. Like, that was an intention, okay? And I'm trying to see where I can find this video. I mean, why not? I mean, let's just go see it. Anyway, so Democratic Virginia House candidate performs sex acts with husband on webcam for tips. Verbatim, 4 tips. Her name is Susanna Gibson, and she is running for the Commonwealth's House of Delegates in the 57th District. She's a mother of 2 young children, and she is a wife. She and her husband stream on the website called Chatterbait, and there are some screenshots that prove that. So there are some screenshots that you could find. Well, in this article that I'm looking at right now, there's screenshots of the material that they post on the website. Obviously, these screenshots aren't showing them in full nude. Like, it cuts off at a certain point, but they're nude, right? So she's a 40-year-old nurse practitioner. So let me read this. The 40-year-old nurse practitioner hosted more than a dozen of the live romps with her husband on the platform. Okay, so she's been this is their content creation. They post content online on this website, and they've been doing it for quite some time. And it's just what they do. And you know, it is what it is. So, what else? So, in September 2022, so she declared candidacy in 2022, so just last year. And since then, not even since then, I think just recently, the revelation of her content creation on this website has been revealed. And she is claiming that this is revenge porn, like someone is using this against her will. And I feel like, you know, girl, like, cut it out. No, it's not. It's just now that you are running for a public office position, people are going to fight dirty, and they're going to dig up more information from you as much as they can. And this is what they find. This is what you have willingly put out on Front Street, regardless of how certain websites have paywalls like Patreon, and even like certain parts of YouTube. Like if you are a subscriber of someone's page, or no, because you could subscribe to someone's page, but if you're like a member within that subscription, you have more access to different content, and being a member comes with a cost. So the point is, different websites, there are certain paywalls built in to gain access. And you think, because of the paywall, no one who is outside of this wall can see the content that I'm putting out. And that is not the case. Au contraire, because you have people within the paywall, you have the members, the paid members, who some of them may look at this as an opportunity to get exposure, to get some money, to get some clout, and may screen record or find another device and record the content, and find a website or a publisher or someone, a magazine or a gossip site who is willing to pay for this particular content, and they could get a buck off of you. So nothing is safe out here. So this idea of her feeling like she's been violated or whatnot is like, no, I mean, this is the world that we live in. It's not 1996 where, finding things online is so hard, or being able to investigate and explore things is so difficult. No, you can find things very easily. Just literally try, and you probably don't even have to try. It just comes at you. So, Gibson also apparently maintained her Chatterbait profile after having announced her campaign in July 2022, uploading at least one picture of herself on the sex streaming site the following month, according to a screenshot obtained by the Post. So despite her making this public announcement and this public declaration of running for public office, she is still going about posting nude and intimate photos of herself on this sex streaming website. I mean, I don't know if she was living in this state of delusion, thinking that this won't come back to bite her, but especially when you running in politics, people are very dirty, dirty. And I learned this from watching the show Scandal. Like, they fight dirty, and it's really a reflection of real life. It was just not just a show. It was a reflection of life. Art imitates life, or life imitates art. It really was a kid and play when it came to that. The unconventional candidate had more than 5,770 Chatterbait followers. So she already had a strong following, whom she repeatedly pressed for more tokens in exchange for certain acts in private showings, adding that she was raising money for a good, what was the cause, ma'am? Shit, sending your kids to private school, that's what it was. And in other videos, she suggested that she and her husband have tried swapping with different partners, as she is ethically non-monogamous, but that he doesn't like sharing. So she's very open, and it is what it is, child. And she's a pretty girl. She's a pretty white girl. She looks young and vivacious, and, you know, getting it in with her husband. It is what it is. And she's upset that this has come forward to the public, you know, the public's eye, because even though she was public with her nudity, it was public behind a paywall. So again, there's this delusion of security that she thought she had, and she thought that would protect her. But nonetheless, when you are working in politics and you're running for office, people will fight dirty because they want to win, and they want to make sure that you are seen in a bad light so that they can win the fight. So, you know, I think it's funny. And maybe this will turn around for her favor. You know, we live in a different age now where people are open and honest about their additional streams of income, and finding ways to make additional streams of income for some people have resulted in creating nudity content and creating content that is sexually suggestive and intimate by nature and downright raunchy. So I think maybe she could spin it in a way where she's saying, I own my body, and, you know, I am, you know, I have autonomy over my body, and I'm a woman. And she is also, you know, she's running for a democratic position. So she could spin it in that sense, because the Democratic Party is liberal in that viewpoint when it comes to women and their bodies, and my body, my choice, all that bullshit, right? So I think there's this spin. If she better hire Olivia Pope. Where's Kerry Washington? I need her to get back to that role as Olivia Pope and handle this, because I think she could still make it. I really do. You know, you have many politicians who have so many scandals, and yet they were still reelected. They still had more time in the office. They still finished their term. So this lady deciding to have sex online with her husband, like, come on now. Like, give her a break. She's hot. He's hot. I mean, he's all right. I mean, I don't see it, but, like, they look hot together. So I think aesthetically, it's not bad for the eye. And I think, you know, it's unfortunate to say this, but we live in a society in which if you're not good looking, we don't want to see you naked, right? We don't want to see you having sex or having fun. Yet those who are aesthetically pleasing, we don't mind. We actually want to see that. We want to see you engaging in natural human behavior. So I think they could just spin it to their favors. I really do. Oh, man. Okay, let's end it off with this final, this is kind of sad note, but apparently there is a serial killer on the loose targeting models. And these two models both happen to be Black women, very beautiful Black women, young, in their 30s, I think. And let me figure out, where is it? I want to say it's in California. Excuse me. Let me find. Yeah, in California, in downtown Los Angeles in particular. So 2 models found dead in downtown Los Angeles, and we don't know who is necessarily responsible, but it all happened rather quickly. Yeah, I think rather quickly in between each murder. So police are searching for any clues that could help them find the perpetrator or perpetrators involving in the killings of 2 models in downtown Los Angeles in the span of 1 week. The first woman whose death was announced was identified as 31-year-old model and real estate agent Melissa Mooney, Rest in peace. She was found dead in her luxury apartment in Bunker Hill on Tuesday by officers conducting a welfare check after she abruptly stopped answering calls or texts from her family. When a week went by, we just knew something was off, said her cousin, and this is really sad. It's so disturbing. They checked her apartment, and unfortunately, they found her dead. The next person here is, let's see here. Coates was found dead. Okay, so there we go. So just 3 days later, authorities announced the death of another model, 32-year-old Nicole Nikki Coates. Coates was found dead in her apartment by concerned family members on September 10th after she wouldn't answer attempt to contact her for days. Quote, I couldn't recognize her. Quote, I believe it was murder. I really do. According to Coates' loved ones, the last they heard from Nikki, she told them that she was going out on a date on Friday, September 8th. It would be the last conversation she would have with them. The two incidents occurred less than 3 miles apart, which is just it's very chilling. And while Mooney's case is being considered a murder as of Sunday, Coates' case is still considered a suspicious death. Now, I don't know why it's considered a suspicious death. Like, what are they trying to say? Like, it was an accident, or was it a suicide? I don't know. Family members of both women emphasize the fact that each were loved and adored by those they knew. And there's no suspect description that's been released. And I hope there's a better resolve to this. Hopefully they find who the serial killer could be, or is in particular. And this is so strange. It's strange. And I think it's interesting because it makes you wonder, were these two women being watched the whole time? Did this person knew both of them personally, right? I don't know, because for them to live so closely apart from each other, it does make me wonder the relation in the serial killer to them. But yeah, let's go ahead and end it here. I'm sorry to end it on that note. I just wanted to kind of talk about that because I came across my timeline and thought it was very unfortunate. So yeah, God bless, and rest in peace to them. But anyway, I want to thank you all for listening. Thank you so much for listening. A full week of episodes. We did it, Joe. We did it, Joe. We really did. So thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for subscribing. And I will check in with you all next time. Peace. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of God Built This Podcast with your host, Maxine. If you liked it, leave a review, share, and subscribe. God bless.